Good day to you all and welcome to the Girls Table podcast. My name is Vivian Mleya. Namhlanje sabe sikhuluma about the issue of taxes, high taxes, if I may put it that way, that have been introduced by the Minister of Finance. Siyananzela ukuthi khona these days we are being taxed for almost everything and it's affecting us kakhulu as young women. So today I'm joined by a young woman who's going to introduce herself and tell us what she understands about taxes.
Good day, everyone. My name is Langeli Shekwebo. The question is, what do I understand about taxes? I think taxes are a way of mobilizing resources for the economic growth of a country. So I think that's what I understand about taxes.
Oh, okay, thank you so much, Lang. So from your own understanding also, what do you think are the reasons why are we being taxed as Zimbabweans specifically?
Okay, I think being taxed, it's not only a Zimbabwean issue, I think it's a global issue. I think, as I said before, it's a way of mobilizing resources for the economic development of any country or region. So I think it is a way of boosting the economy, it's a way of harnessing funds for various sectors. You know, we've got the health sector, we've got the education sector, we've got the public service sector. So I think that's the reason why we are being taxed, to find ways to fund these services. And yeah, basically that's what I think and that's what I understand.
Okay, so when as a young woman, how is this issue of high taxes affecting you?
Okay, I think this is when the tricky part comes in. Taxing and being taxed, I don't think it's a problem, but I think we are being taxed as a country from a narrow-based tax. Our country already doesn't even have people who are employed. Our country is full of informal traders that are not employed, and the informal traders are the ones that are being taxed. We don't have these jobs and we are being taxed from you know, you get someone sending you $2 eco cash, and then you have to pay the 2% again. You are no longer able to access that $2. You're now managing to $20 aid, of which you can't buy what you wanted to buy, you know. And then we talk about the issue of you now even have to pay 15% of commodity tax on top of the 2% where we told it from a transaction. So I think that on its own, it's really affecting us as young women in the country, because we can't access services and goods, and then we are being infringed of our rights, you know, on living standards, that we are being compromised. And we've got fees, we've got pets, we have issues to do with simple sustainability, and we don't have the sustainability measures that help us to sustain ourselves. So it's really affecting us, and every day is drawing us to vulnerability. That's why you end up finding girl child are opting for other means of survival, which we are all frequently and oftenly talking about. You know, some opt for sex work, some opt to leave the country. We've got high numbers of girls leaving the country, finding greener pastures outside the country, and we are leaving our children behind and we are leaving our families behind. I think that's how it affects me as a young woman in the country.
Okay, I heard you talking about the issue of pads. Pads already we could not afford to buy pads as I say $1. Karesi sokule tax futhi, you know, we are being taxed. So kule imali ephezulu. How am I going to afford pads? Those are some of the things that are affecting us as young women, which is going to lead to a period poverty. Maybe you want to add on to that.
I think that on its own, it's a problem which has been debated in the parliament for quite a number of years now, because constantly we are engaging the policymakers. Can you at least advocate for us to have pets, even at a ridiculous price? But that's not happening, you know. So you can imagine if when dollar, you know, to access some pets, how about that young girl who's at school, who's 15 years, also in a period pain, they're failing to access school. It's actually affecting other sectors. It's not only affecting your health or your mental state, it's affecting your schoolwork, it's affecting your engagement with other kids. It's increasing nje ukuthi umntwana afile inferior around other kids. So I think it's a really a serious issue for our policymakers to look into and provide solutions, I would say.
Okay, interesting. Also, nguzukhuluma ngendaba egodini le uthi khona, you are an informal trader, so kumele uye egodini uyethengisela egodini, because if you don't go to egodini bazatshona beyoxotshanisa and stuff like that. How many people afford to go to egodini? And maybe since when you're an informal trader ungasitshela nje ukuthi khona kuli affecta njani ukuthi awusakwanisa ukuya egodini usiyasho ukuxotshaniswa. Are you making enough money to be able ukuthi khona uyibhadale $90 le uphila njani,
Okay, egodini was a good initiative asingeke sayala, but on the contrary it's really affecting us because we are talking of $90 and we hardly make that within a month. So it means if I'm going to work the whole month, I'm not taking anything home. I'm not feeding my children. I'm just working to give the government the $90. And the issue of what is so up and down, it's really disturbing us. It's really affecting and challenging us. We feel like our rights are being infringed constantly.
Okay, thank you so much for that. Maybe before we conclude, Langa, what can be done on the issue of taxes? Ukuthi umthwalo ube ngathi kuba lula kithi, ukuthi singabona ngani sebesuffocate ngama-taxes lawo.
I think the issue of taxes, it's not even an issue esiqasa phansi, iqasa phezulu. We have to reduce corruption. I think that on its own, it's a problem that we have as a country. Having corrupt people who use funds for wrong purposes. Again, we can encourage our government on job creation, and increase the tax base, because the problem that you already have is we are sucking on a very narrow tax base. We don't even have the taxpayers anymore, because we are saying almost 90 or 80% of the country is occupied by the informal traders who don't even pay tax. And you find out that we've got even bigger organizations or bigger organizations that make large amounts of profits, and these organizations, you find that they don't even pay tax, and then tax is only paid by the minute population that is not making much. So I think on its own we have to deal with the issue of corruption. We have to deal with the issue of finding sustainable initiatives that can provide job creations, and that can provide other means of mobilizing resources. And we should look at other sectors, even the extractive sector, because especially African countries, they are rich in minerals. So we can look at the extractive sector and find best ways of using our resources. Instead of using resource-backed loans from other countries, we can use our own resources to try and develop our country and create a better way to mobilize resources, rather than sucking from a cow that already has nothing. So that's my take, because I think are affected us.
Okay, I'm sure Sisizwele. Thank you so much, Langa, and can you please follow us on all our social media handles at the Girls Table? Thank you so much for tuning in.